Well, hi there, gang. This is John McCririck, and I want to welcome you to episode 7, episode 7 of the Ask Big Mac show. Now, before I get started, and we'll do it again, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, for goodness sake. And okay, Booby, we've done that, so let's get on with the show. Now, I want the first question. I don't want it too tricky, but I want it an intelligent question. Have we found, of all the people who've been sending in questions, have any of them got any brains to make it really clever?
Well, the first question for today's show is from McBookie from Twitter, and he asks, "Hi John, what do you think the future is for independent bookmakers, especially with the new deal with picture rights?"
Well, it's very, very important. The essence of a free market, of competition, is the independent bookmakers. Remember, there used to be about 15,000 bookmakers. They're around 8,000 now. So how in 20 years, how it's declined the number of actual bookmakers there are. And of course, it's the independents that have been going out of business, and the bigger boys have been growing even bigger. And the less independents there are, the less choice for the punters, so let alone what's happening with the exchanges and the opportunities. In a way, that's good for punters, but we need the smaller bookies as well, especially in the villages and areas where a local bookmaker looks after his or her community. So important, very important. As for the new terms, they always favour the big boys. It's a tough, hard world. I'm a failed bookmaker. So anybody who thinks, oh, it's easy, you just stand up there or you just open a betting shop and you'll make money, it is really tough. Without the fobs, without the machines, there would be no bookmakers at all in this country as far as betting shops are concerned. The machines are keeping the system going, so any threat to them through legislation will be absolutely devastating. Bookmakers would close en masse with that. But we need smaller bookmakers, we need entrepreneurial bookmakers who will open up and do challenges and make terms better for the punters and that sort of thing. Without the independents, we've really got problems. And the future is going to be tough, it's going to be hard. But I think the bright ones, the clever ones, the ones who look after their customers, they're the ones who'll survive. Go on, next question, Bobe.
Next question from Glenn Potter on Facebook asks, "Do you prefer the Greyhound Derby or the Epsom Derby?"
Well, good question, Glenn. The first thing to say is that next year the Greyhound Derby will be on the same day as the Epsom Derby. And I've always said, and by the way, never call it the Epsom Derby, it's the Derby at Epsom. The Derby at Epsom will be on the same day that Wimbledon holds the Greyhound Derby, so many people will be able to do both. You can do Epsom, I think the last race could be around 5:30, and you get to Wimbledon, it's only an hour up the road. So there will definitely be I've always thought the two derbies should merge. Now the trouble is, the Greyhound people think, well, we're going to be totally overwhelmed by what's going on with the Derby at Epsom, that nobody will care about us. But I think clever to marketing, bring them together. Bookmakers could offer special odds and special sort of incentives to go and bet on both events, whatever it is. I think it's a sound idea having the Derby, both derbies, on the same day. Which do I prefer? Well, I used to love the old White City derbies. Used to go there back in the 50s and the 60s. Absolutely tremendous. And it really is a problem that London hasn't got a Greyhound stadium now, apart from Wimbledon, which is very run down and dilapidated. Let's hope they can rebuild Wimbledon, set up a new stadium, bring people in, get Greyhound racing going. I keep on telling the story. Boris Johnson, the Mayor of London, who's had a say in this, didn't save Walthamstow. The loss of the Stowe was terrible. And as I said to him, when the problems with Wimbledon came up and there's been some really good campaigns to try and save it, I said to Boris, now listen here, Boris, I said, are you going to be the Lord Mayor of London on whose watch Greyhound racing ended for all time in the capital? So let's hope, we can hope, that Wimbledon really redevelops, but the two derbies, they can go together. But as you said, Glenn, it is a question of preferring one to the other. I love them both. So make me levels, you devils, dead heat, Derby dogs, Derby horses. I don't know. Glenn, I think you probably prefer the dogs, don't you? Come on, Bobby, next question.
Third question from Deb Brigden from Facebook. She asks, what 3 things would you put in room 101?
Well, room 101 is tremendous on the telly. You can put anything you like in it and it disappears. So we can get a thing. Well, one thing I'd say is the most important thing on this planet that we could get rid of would be all religions. Wonderful. Put all religions in room 101. Nobody believes all that stuff, all the antagonism, so many of the wars, so many of the feuds that are going on, the personal antagonism that destroys families, that interferes with the way of life, the way women are treated in certain religions. Absolutely disgusting. So I definitely, in room 101, my first thing would be all religions. Second thing, I do away with the whip in horse racing for as far as hitting animals is concerned. Not for steering purposes, straightening purposes, absolutely fine. But hitting animals in the name of sport is unacceptable. What we're doing is morally wrong. No other activity does it permit anyone to hit a live animal like this. So it is, let alone human beings. You can't go and hit human beings. Why can you go and hit horses? Horse racing would flourish fine if there was no whips being used to hit horses. The best jockeys would still win. Horses would run much straighter. Many more races are lost because of the whip than won because of it. So definitely, I'd love it to see that racing could really appeal to more people in the public who are turned off racing, who are sickened by the sight of animals being hurt and hit. And it's no good people saying, oh, the whips are much softer than they used to be and there's no effect. The fact is that they're used. If they weren't hurting the animals and they weren't feeling it, they wouldn't be any good anyway. But we can do without them. Racing would still go on. Best horses and jockeys would win, and in fact there'd be less interference, horses swerving away from the whip. So that's the second thing that I really would like to go and get rid of. And Deb, the third thing I'd like to put into room 101 to disappear forever would be draws in football. Now you have 3 points for a win, nobody argues about that. You have 1 point each for a draw, nobody disputes that. But every game should end with a result. So a game that's drawn 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, whatever it is, you then go to penalties. No one would leave the ground. People love penalties. The players hate them, of course, but the crowds absolutely love them. You would have penalty specialists, but you would leave the ground, or you'd be watching on television or listening on the radio, you would have a result. So wouldn't it be fantastic? 3 points for a win, so the incentive to win, is, of course, has to be paramount. It would still be there. You get 1 point if you have a draw. Both teams get the 1 point. But the extra point to the side that wins on penalties. And that's the highlight. Whenever you do have penalties now in cup games that they're not going to have replays, that's what people talk about the most. Who missed the penalty, the brilliant save that kept the team in the game, whatever it is. So wouldn't it be amazing, Deb? Get rid of penalties, you get rid of draws, have the penalties instead, you always have a winner. And Deb, for asking that question, you are a winner with me. Well, thank you all for watching episode 7 of Ask Big Mac, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and keep you sending in your questions on Twitter @RealMcCririck and Facebook /RealMcCririck by adding hashtag AskBigMac. And if I didn't answer your question this week, it might be next week, or it might be the week after, or it might be 10 years' time. You'll still be watching. So keep sending those questions in. Get them in now. And don't forget my hashtag